Am I audible?
Yes, Samson.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Global Pathway, the second session of our career fair organized by the Rotary Club of University of Moratuwa in collaboration with Career Guidance Unit. Today's session is organized to provide valuable insights into international education pathways. We have planned to connect you with well-experienced persons in higher education, guide you through application process, explore scholarships, and show how global education can boost your career. We hope today's session helps you take informed steps towards your academic and professional goals. So, today we are honored to have three esteemed speakers with us: Dr. Prathapasinghe Dharmawansha, Mr. Sandushan Ranavira, and Ms. Dimitri D. Mural, who will share their valuable insights. Without further detainment, let's get started. Our first speaker is Dr. Prathapasinghe Dharmawansha, Senior Lecturer at the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering. By providing valuable insights into He will guide us by providing valuable insights into the pathways available for international education. We are honored to have him with us today to share his knowledge and expertise. Over to you, sir. Sir, your microphone is off.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Hasanka. Good evening to you. I'm Prathapa, as he introduced correctly. And from my world, it's 2:40 p.m. now. The temperature is minus 12 degrees Celsius. Of course, I'm inside, so I don't feel like that. So Sri Lanka should be a warm place right now. So thank you for inviting me to give this seminar. Probably this is the third time that I'm doing this seminar, though. And can I share my screen though? Um, I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, you can see my privacy, right? Okay, now not. Okay. I don't know how you can see because I have seen some weird things here. So let me try to drag them. Here we go. These guys are going down. Okay, let them keep here. Okay, pretty cool. Okay. Good evening. So this is a global pathway webinar, I suppose. Are you ready 2025? This is the third time that I'm doing this one. I'm Pratapa. And let's try to learn about foreign graduate studies in the next couple of minutes. So you may see that I'm looking up, not looking at you. Now I'm looking at you and I'm looking up. The reason is I have two monitors though, but the camera is on my laptop, whereas I'm looking at my auxiliary monitor. So because of that, you'll feel that I am talking to somebody in the sky or something. I'm not. I'm looking at the presentation though on my monitor. I'm sorry for that. It's a technical glitches. Let's move on. Um, let's see. My first slide is to do or not to do. That's the question. So this is synonymous with the Prince Hamlet of Denmark, Shakespeare's one of the most famous play. Now, if you look at this image there, you can see this bit of a typical academic environment, presumably in a library there. You will see, you can see though, some people, this guy is basically, he's thinking about how to write. The other person is, well, listening and thinking, and these guys are discussion, writing, and somebody sleeping. And looking at the mobile phone size and dimensions, and I don't know, you can imagine that this picture or this thing must have been drawn like probably 20 to 30 years ago. Nevertheless, so the higher studies or graduate studies, so they call it postgraduate studies, they are synonymous with each other. So you want to take a private decision, very personal decision to pursue or not. In the next couple of slides, I'll explain some of the most important integral factors that may affect your decision. But remember, one of the rules of thumb is basically it completely depends on what you want in your life. Really want to make sure that you want it if you want to pursue. If you really want to pursue it, and if you really do not want to pursue it, think twice before you do it. So to do or not to do, that's the question, and that's the preamble to this talk as well. Now, moving on to the second slide. So the first question in your mind, or somebody may ask, um, uh, the question is very simple. Why should I go to the graduate school? Why should you go? You want to justify first yourself before you uh, take certainly a risky decision, I would say, but it's going to pay you off in the long run. So why should you do it? So there are typical factors that may influence your decision. First one is peer pressure or family prestige. Sometimes all of your peers, or a few of your peers, so delta neighborhood of you, few of your friends may think of going for higher studies, and then you have pressure from them. And most importantly, in South Asian countries, predominantly the family prestige, the PhD or postgraduate qualifications are kind of like an ornament for your family. I mean, you don't have to take it like a negative. This is how various societies evolve over the time. Okay, so it's a family prestige. So some people, because of family prestige, some people want to pursue PhD. So you get a first degree, and then you go for postgraduate qualification to acquire postgraduate qualification. I'm not telling they are bad, but certain motivations are behind it. And some category I have seen, they have passion for research. They learn something in the undergraduate. It's like bit of a hand waving thing actually, because you learn a little bit here and there, like sporadically you learn something at your undergraduate, and then you feel like, well, it's good to do certain in-depth studies in a certain area. So I want to enhance, I want to broaden my knowledge. At the same time, though, I want to contribute to the body of knowledge. So that's also one factor that might influence your decision. And then some people have certainly career goals actually. So in 10 years down the lane, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a professor or somebody, or in a company you are going to be design engineer or chief engineer, so on and so forth. You may have your academic goals, career goals actually. So depending on the career goal, to satisfy, to achieve career goals, sometimes the first step is to get postgraduate qualification. And then sometimes people would like to leave the country. At any cost, I got my degree. I just want to vanish from this country. I mean, good or bad, this is how people think sometimes. So personal mobility. So you want to move. You want to move your family. You want to mobilize your entire family. Or personally, you want to move yourself. You want to escape from something. So this is also an opportunity. Sometimes they think like, okay, since I want to move out, so I want to make use of this opportunity as a way, a method, a device to move out. Some people think like, okay, so I want to think to do a little bit of higher studies, because I did postgraduate, I did bachelor's or first degree, and now I want to get a little bit of qualification, that is master's. And then some people would say, well, I want to get some in-depth knowledge or enhance my knowledge to a deep level. So therefore, I want to pursue PhD. Um, uh, so then the problem comes, a problem or something like a dilemma you may have, like whether you want to pursue PhD or MSc. So it depends on your choice again. Sometimes it's packaged, like whenever you register for PhD, that you are going to inevitably get MSc followed by PhD. Sometimes they are detached as two commodities coming. So I'm sorry for using the word commodity, but these qualifications are not a commodity. But right now in the world, actually, they are traded as commodities, whether we like it or not. So then what matters is that because of certain for first four tabs, kind of like a motivating factors or decisive factors in your life, dwelling on which you make a decision, and then you decide whether to do PhD or MSc. Imagine that you have enough samples to make an intelligent decision. And then next, the question that you may have is, whether this commitment's worth outcome of this one is worth the commitment. Well, if you want to achieve higher degrees or higher qualifications, actually you need to commit to yourself. So probably this commitment is over probably 3 to 4, 5 years, or probably more than that. Then you may think that during that time, how about my personal life? What would my other my colleagues do? What would be their level at the end of the day? So then you have to sort of doing analysis in your mind and say whether this outcome is worth the commitment that you're gonna that the commitment that you will be having one day. And then the bottom line is you are going to become a student again. You're going to become a student again. Some people are tired of being student through during the undergraduate for 5 years, and then you want to say, oh my god, sigh again. I want to become student again. Probably not. They think like probably not. Now you can see, although this is not an exhaustive list, though this was like kind of came to my mind, I noted down. So these are the factors that one day might pop up when you are making decision, when you are planning to make a decision. This is a critical decision in your life, actually, because of this commitment. This is a commitment for 4 to 5 years, basically. So whether it's worth taking this risky commitment. Okay, so these factors may come, and you may think, oh, if you haven't thought about it, now you know, and now you have to think about this thing before you make this critical decision. Unless you really want it, you don't have to do it. So that's what you have to really want it. You have to really want it. Some people say, at any cost, I want to leave this country. So the vessel to move away is like, if you have an undergraduate, probably go for postgraduate study. It's not per se you like to study further, but this is one of the most easiest way. Some people would exercise like that. Some people would say, okay, our family prestige, I can achieve certain family prestige, or my family will have certain prestige if I had obtained this qualification. So that makes also same. And more or less, actually, all the things are same despite this fact, passion for research. Actually, if you have really passion for research, actually, go for it, because it's worth your commitment, and whatever the investment that you are going to get, actually, is really worth. So if you have really passion for research, actually, you should go for higher studies. But it doesn't mean the other person should not go. Other factors are also important in your life, but if you have really have passion for research, because these higher degrees are purely based on research more often, because you want to contribute to the body of knowledge. What is research? Research is creation of new knowledge. Okay, I'm sorry, I did not define this. Research is, broadly speaking, creation of new knowledge. The knowledge in terms of maybe piece of software, thesis, a concept, patent, it can be anything, actually. Okay, so the passion for research is one of the most important things. That's critical factors, actually, when you try to decide whether you should go to graduate school or not. Okay, the message is you have to really want it. Okay, you have to really want it because of one or few of the above factors. Okay, there can be so many other factors that I haven't mentioned, so I'm sorry about that, but this is pretty much what I have. Now, moving on to second, third slide, basically. So where should you go? The first, now you make a decision here, okay, really I want to go. And the next, okay, where should I go? Here we go. Now I have listed several places that people used to go in the history, in the past. Well, I start with the way I have written North America. That means North America consists of Canada, US, and Canada, United States and Canada. So there are powerhouses: MIT, UC Berkeley, Stanford, UCLA, UIUC. And if you go towards Canada side, Toronto, UBC, Waterloo. I mean, this is not an exhaustive list, though, but these are kind of quite famous kind of powerhouses in both continents. So I have listed few places. And if you want to go, if you are interested in UK, then there are like very famous universities: Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial College, University College London, Bristol, Edinburgh, London, School of Economics. Well, although they are London School of Economics, they are very broad, actually. And then sometimes people would like to move to Australian side, and Australia, New Zealand. There are famous universities in that part of the world, as Australian National University, University of Sydney, Melbourne, RMIT, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, Monash, University of New South Wales, Queensland, Auckland, Canterbury, that's part of New Zealand, Auckland, Victoria, Massey, etc. So this is not an exhaustive list. It's like a few places that I have mentioned here. And then some people would like to go to Europe. Right now, I'm in Europe. The Europe powerhouses include EPFL, École Polytechnique, ETH, KTH, and École Polytechnique in France, Technical University of Munich, University of Amsterdam, Norway, NTNU University, that's in Norway. This KTH in Sweden, EPFL and ETH are in Switzerland, École Polytechnique is in France, Technical University of Munich is in Germany, University of Amsterdam is in the Netherlands, NTNU is in Norway. And then on the other hand, China and Hong Kong SAR. Now, China and Hong Kong are they're quite famous because of this deep seek and all sort of AI wars between continents and powerhouses. And University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, one of the most prestigious places on earth, Shanghai Jiaotong University, these are famous. Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, where I used to stay some time, and Chinese University of Hong Kong and Hong Kong University. All these universities are quite famous and they have very prestigious world rankings as of today. And then Singapore, although very tiny city, they have two powerhouses, NUS and NTU, that in National Institute of Singapore and Nanyang Technological University. And then if you go to far away to Japan, you have this Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Tohoku, and there are a few universities. So now we make the decision to go out to pursue higher studies for some reason that I have mentioned, probably because of one of these or few of these reasons. And then you want to decide where you should go, where are you heading to? Is it North America, UK, Australia, Europe, China? I mean, then you would ask the question like, well, dwelling on what factor should I decide my destination? It's not like just you toss a coin and say, okay, I want to go there. No, you want to see factors. What are the differences? What are the pros and cons of being one place against the other place in contrast? Okay, so you want to think like that. So you want to make sure that you go make a correct decision, and then by choosing a correct school, correct continent, is also going to satisfy your future career goals or your family requirement or probably your personal requirement, so on and so forth. Now, it depends on how you choose place. So nobody can say this place is better than this place uniformly better. There is no place is uniformly better than the other place, obviously. But depending on your personal choices and depending on various factors, of course, depending on your ability and your undergraduate performance and so on and so forth that I'm going to discuss in a few minutes, you can decide a place or at least you can bid for a place that you might go in the future. Now, where should I go? Like popular destination, then how would you choose a destination? It depends on so many factors. Although this is not again an exhaustive list, I have mentioned few, I would say, critical or salient factors that may influence you or that you should know in advance before you make a very critical decision in your life. The first one is you want to look at your alma mater in the sense that what's going to be your alma mater one, that means leading research universities. Now, if you want to pursue research, it's good to be a part of, it's good to be indulged in a part of a very leading research university, culture of a very leading research university. For instance, Ivy League US or so-called Russell's Group UK. But it doesn't mean that everyone can go there. I mean, that's life. But you should be aware that where you are against these benchmarks, where you want to go against this benchmark. This is one of the first things. And then you may worry about the duration of PhD. Depending on the destination, actually, PhD duration can vary. For instance, in UK and Australia, typically 3 years plus. But in North America, typically 5 years because you want to start master and it's like 2 years master plus 3 years PhD altogether 5 years. Okay, so I mean, this is again not a very hard and fast rule, but these are rules of thumb usually. And then you may wonder like, okay, so the university ranking or research university, that matters a lot, and PhD duration probably matters to me as well because I have my achievements, so I have my career goals in the future. Well, on the other hand, though, more often when you go for research degrees, actually you are working under certain supervisor because the funding comes from his funds or basically scholarship, doesn't really matter, but you have to work with supervisor. It's not like undergraduate. Undergraduate, you per se, you don't have a definite supervisor, but you have a consortium of lecturers But when it comes to higher degrees, postgraduate degree research, though, you're going to work with definitely one or more supervisors, particularly one, but it can be two or three. So then the choice of supervision is also important. Whether supervisor is fixed in advance or whether you have a choice of choosing a supervisor. Sometimes people may like to have a fixed supervisor, but who knows whether your chemistry between you is going to work or not. So in that case, it's good to have a choice in your life to choose your own supervisor. Now, North American system, usually you have a choice to choose a supervisor, particularly in US actually. You have option to choose supervisors actually. And then it depends on exactly how you pursue your degree, how would you achieve, how do you achieve your target? So the target degree is higher degree. So how do you achieve? By research only or coursework plus research. Now, basically, UK standard and Australia to a certain extent actually, you don't need to take mandatory coursework as a part of research. So you can indulge in research upon arrival, like a direct PhDs, they call it direct research. In contrast, the North American continent, what they practice is the first year or so you are gonna improve your breadth and depth through coursework, intense coursework, and then having completed this thing successfully, and then you are gonna go for solid research. And then when you have choice to take coursework, though you get to know various advisors, potential advisors, and their scopes, their research works, and so on and so forth. And then having completed coursework, actually, you have choice to choose your advisor more often. So you can see, okay, this guy has this thing, his chemistry is like this, he has expertise like this, he knows this thing, he doesn't know this thing, this is how he treats kids, and so on and so forth. And you have plenty of data, and depending on this data or and you can make an intelligent inference actually. And then there's another critical factor. So money matters a lot, and tuition versus non-tuition. Now, usually you have to pay tuition. Well, in that case, usually you will be given a scholarship if you're a successful candidate. But sometimes, though, historically, European universities they didn't charge tuition, but now the trend is also changing rapidly. As far as I can see, they are also going to charge tuition right now. But usually tuition versus non-tuition. So sometimes you want to go for a place where you get scholarship. If you don't get scholarship, still you don't want to pay tuition, though only you want to take care of your own cost of life. Because tuition is a large portion of money, though usually. So that's why they are given the students are given scholarship depending on your abilities. So when you have scholarship scheme, so many people will apply for that, and then naturally a natural competition will arise. Okay, so that's also a critical factor whether you want to pay tuition or no tuition. And then studentship versus employment. Although I said early in the early slide, actually you are going to be students again, but the European way of looking at it is slightly different though. Usually all other part of the world they consider PhD, masters, all this as studentship, whereas in the Europe usually, or at least this part of the world, they consider it to be an employment. It's like an employment contract between the university and students, like an employment. But this is a subtle technical thing actually. And then what matter is, on the other hand, after that, what you're going to do after PhD, having obtained PhD or master or in general postgraduate qualification, what you're going to do. Now, you need to have a plethora of opportunities after postgraduate studies, because otherwise, what's the whole point of doing this one? Now, again, the place that you're going to go depends heavily on the opportunities that may exist after your postgraduate studies. Now, in this aspect, you can see where the technology is given birth. If you go to Silicon Valley or somewhere there, people are, coming up with concepts, having startup companies, plethora of companies, mushrooming at some point. And not only that, though, if you look at carefully our environment in Sri Lanka, basically we are like heavily aligned with our department. So we are like in a caste system, though we are heavily aligned with our department expertise. But once you go up actually in the research, sometimes the department, these thin red lines are going to vanish. They're going to vanish actually, and then there can be like amalgamation of disciplines, and you can share as advisors and so on and so forth. So there are many opportunities once you go up. So on the other hand, though, the expertise that you are going to develop one day through your research or learning as a master's student should pave your way to I would say to explore unorthodox career paths actually. Now, when I say unorthodox career path is obviously if you are an electrical engineer, that what I know. I mean, I cannot say electrical in the sense that in Sri Lanka it should be electronic engineer, but I would say electrical. This is a big set of electrical engineering, computer, all this go to electrical engineering. So as an electrical engineer, you will try to pursue electrical engineering career path, but that should not necessarily be the case because sometimes the transferable set of skills that you learn as an electrical engineer through your research can be well applied to other areas such as banking, insurance. There are so many. Sometimes people work for so-called hedge funds, hedge fund managers, and you work for insurance companies, you work for healthcare companies. There can be unorthodox jobs in the world, but you want to see that kind of location. Where can you see that kind of opportunities? And then you may want to go there because you don't want to do traditional career, having obtained this qualification, but you wanna see something new. Well, then you want to go to a country where you can see a plethora of opportunities, job opportunities, and sometimes without ceiling salaries. You know what I mean? Okay, so as a take-home message in this part of the talk, so if you are the smartest person in the group, it is time to find another group or new group. What it means is like when you choose a place to go, you don't have to be the smartest. You should be among the smartest. Okay. It's not looking down upon yourself. You have your courage and you have your confidence. But if you are the smartest, highly likely that you are going to dissipate your energy there. But if you are not the smartest, highly likely that you want to improve your potential there. So when you choose place, keep this strong message in your mind. And then it comes, you decide, you already made up your mind to go there. And then you choose a place depending on these factors. And then this is not enough. Everything is in your mind. But then you have to put the plan into action, your plan into action. So how do you put plan into action? So there are various methods. So sometimes you can direct application to graduate school. More often that's the case. You have to directly apply with often ancillary dossiers from your undergraduate. And sometimes you get open discussion with potential supervisor. Sometimes supervisors say, okay, I have this project potential, I'm searching for potential students, and then you can directly apply for this opening. And then probably they will discuss with you having an interview, or after having a sequence of interviews, they will choose something. This is one way. And then sometimes you can locate a potential supervisor via your local contact, because some of the previous, like your professors in your own university must have gone to foreign countries, and they may have connection with them, and you can talk to them and have something arranged. That's also a thing. And sometimes you can respond to an open call. Really open calls are there, I'm searching for students, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at their research directions and research what happened to their students after research. And you want to make sure that when you choose advisor, you want to make sure that there's a future for their students. So you want to check what happened to the former students and what is the state of uh, right now. The current status is what? Probably some people are already retired. Some people, no matter how famous they are retired, or they are heavily burdened with management. Probably choosing that kind of advice is not going to pay you off in the long run. Again, that's a compromise again. Now, the bottom line is no supervision of funding. Typically, I'm telling, okay, typically no supervision of funding in the sense that there should be a supervisor who's willing to invest his research funding on potential PhD student. Usually that's the case. So you want to make sure when you apply, you want to practice one of these four methods. There can be other auxiliary methods which is not mentioned here, but usually you want to see the application process, application deadlines. Usually, like during this fall period, basically that December, this kind of times, actually application deadlines are there for United States or Canada schools, and then they choose the applicants like next year at some point that they call spring semester. They are going to tell you stuff. So you wanna understand the entire process. You made up your mind, then you try to find a place where you want to go. Still, this is in the planning process. Now you want to put your plan into action. The first thing is you want to lodge an application. As long as you don't apply, they are not going to take you. Okay. So because of that, you want to apply. So these are the methods of finding potential supervisor or research opportunities, I would say. And then what happened is, now you find somebody, say, imagine previous slide we said, like, okay, you want a direct application. What's the nature, what's inside application? Now the application process typically contains a statement of purpose, SOP, or sometimes called motivational letter. You want to show how motivated you are, and then you want to have academic CV. I would say academic CV should be academic CV. If you are searching for academic position, you it's no point of telling sending them an industrial CV. More often it should be an academic CV, and then academic transcript. Of course, you have academic transcript and recommendation letters, and sometimes they require standard test scores, and of course some money, sometimes interviews. Now let me go through carefully all these tabs. Now, statement of purpose is very important, as it sounds. It's called statement of purpose. What's the purpose of applying for this graduate school? Okay, this is statement of purpose or motivation letter. Which kind of factors could have motivated you to apply for this position? And then sometimes people try to write your concise biography, autobiography. I mean, you write about yourself. I was a kid, I was doing like this, blah, 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 blah. Because of that, blah, blah, blah. Some people try to give set of promises to have, should I be chosen, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And sometimes they take CV and expand it. And sometimes people try to boast about, you did a project and you try to boast about it. Now, the downside is this. Now, nobody's interested in your autobiography because you are not a celebrity or anybody like that. And nobody's interested in a set of, empty promises. And nobody want to see an expanded CV like, I have this thing. Now, what matters, you want to understand the mentality of the other side person who might be reading your a statement of purpose. Now, he may be a Nobel laureate. I mean, you have to take this seriously, what I'm telling you. He may be a Nobel laureate, or maybe he's a very, very famous scientist on the other side. So you don't have to boast about yourself, because if you try to boast quite a lot, you will understand, look, I mean, these guys don't have even higher degrees, but they're boasting too much. You don't have to boast, but you have to be humble. You have to be proud of your achievement, but at the same time, you should not underestimate their intelligence. Okay, do not underestimate the reading part of intelligence, nor do you overestimate their your education level and stuff like that. Okay, so they may not know your area, but you can't underestimate their intelligence. Okay, in the sense that a person on the other side, selection committee, may not be from your area, but he may be reading this one, but you can't trick him by using some words or some technical stuff that, in particular in your area, probably they have intelligence. Okay, not probably, they have intelligence. They are intelligent creatures, so they know. So you should be humble when you present something. And the statement is not about boosting your image. What matters is you wanna put yourself in a position that you want to explain how well you fit to the program goals. Actually, what's the program goal? How well your qualification and your achievements align perfectly with the program goals. Now, if you can put this alignment constructively, though, then the other party can see, okay, this guy has kind of experience, partial experience in the undergraduate, and then looking at the way he explains and everything, he has a motivation to pursue, and then it seems his interests are matching with this stuff. Now, you want to make sure that a statement should be a confident statement. That's what I say. It's not promises. You can't give promises. Your statement should be supplemented with evidences. Say, for instance, when I was undergraduate, I had this research problem, and then it's not out of the blue you get solution. So you study this phenomena, because of this thing I found this kind of solution. It turns out that the solution was pretty good. And then you first say what is the research challenge you had, then you said how you overcame it and the significance of your results. So you give confident statement with evidence, rather than telling that, should you give me a position, I'm going to give you this thing, I can do research, blah, blah, blah. Rather than you say that, okay, I had this problem, so this was a challenge. It was really a challenge because my undergraduate knowledge is blah, blah. But then I could overcome this thing using these techniques, and, my results are comparable. It's state of the art. So this is very important, actually. On the other hand, you want to focus that the critical question, why should the graduate school select you over any other candidate? Because you are not the only person who's applying. There are so many people in the world applying for a single, time, that period. Actually, so many applicants apply. So you are one of them. You are one of them. Remember, you are one of them. So you want to make sure that you are distinguished. You should distinguish yourself from the other people, not by boasting, not by giving false promises, but by objectively giving confident statements with evidences and align your interest with the program goals and the goals or culture of the department, right? So this is very important when you write motivation letter. It's not like that it's just generic letter goes for everywhere, but it may not work that way, because you wanna make sure that it customized to the requirement and the philosophy of the program that you are interested in right now. Okay, so it's a very good statement, short and sweet. Sometimes I have seen people write very long statement like the famous English poet William Wordsworth. But you should avoid very long sentences. You want to make sure correct sentences, grammatically correct. No, there are no spelling mistakes, and you don't have to use this bombastic word. Sometimes people think that you coin a few, two, three, four bombastic words will give you more chance. I mean that's not the correct thing. If you look at scientific literature, more often you need clear short sentences, not very complicated, very bombastic words. Of course, if you're applying for English literature or history or social science, probably it's another story, but I'm talking about science in particular. In science, though, it's completely different. I mean, it should be short and sweet, but it should be meaningful. And then it comes to academics. If you want to highlight your academic achievement, most important achievements are basically, GPA and class rank. Okay, GPA, class rank, and whether you have medals or whatever achievements, you have publications, some people may have. But if you don't have, you don't have to be discouraged by that fact. You have potential of creation. Probably you haven't had that opportunity to create one. So you have to be careful about that. And you should not discourage. If you don't have publication, don't be discouraged saying that, oh my God, other people have publication. No, don't worry. You have potential of creating future publication. Probably you haven't had enough opportunity while being in your department particularly. So don't worry about that. It should not be a factor that prevents you or preclude you from applying for higher studies. Don't worry about that. CV is very important. Again, CV, short and sweet if you want. If they say two-page CV, I don't know if they say like that. You want to make sure that don't clutter it with many things, like don't write so many things, don't clutter it. Just make sure academic qualifications are highlighted, because from the side of the person who reads CV, he gets so many CVs actually. Not only one, he gets so many CVs actually. So he may or may not be having time to go through each and every CV in detail. So you want to make sure that in the beginning, one of the most, so few of your most important achievements should be clearly highlighted, so that they can easily see, okay, your GPA like this, your research goals are like this, GPA like this, your class rank like this, you have awards, you have this. It really wants to look at the first few parts. It should be attractive to the reader, and then only he will read the rest. If it is not attractive, probably you said, okay, it doesn't matter, blah blah. So you want to make sure that even you write SOP, the first paragraph is critical, though you want to capture the reader. If you cannot capture the reader from the first paragraph, he may or may not read the rest. Remember, these are very important things. And then the most critical one after that so transcript, you get it anyway, naturally you can't do much about that. And recommendation letters. Now recommendation letters are important because you are supposed to solicit recommendation letters, and more often they are electronically submitted to the system. And when you solicit recommendation letter, you should be ethical enough to let your recommenders know well in advance that you are putting their name, you want to take their consent. Having obtained consent, then you should give them in advance some time frame. So whatever, please make sure that the recommendation, arrived at this particular time. Remember, they have other work to do. It's not your work important, and don't bother them, don't bug them only. That's not the correct way. Let them know in advance, this is how it works, this is the timeline, please be kind enough to do it. So you have to be polite always. That's what I say. You have to be humble and polite. Be polite, be humble, and solicit recommendation letters, and make sure that your recommenders are known to you. It's not that you just go somebody and say, could you please give me recommendation? He or she may give you recommendation letter which is average. Now you don't need average recommendation letter. You need recommendation letters for some people who are aware of your weaknesses and strengths. Actually, of course, he will not write, or she will not write about weaknesses, but he or she should be aware of your strengths, particularly strengths actually, and then they can write good recommendation letters as per their experience. So because of that, you want to make sure that somebody knows about your career, so undergraduate career, very well. At least you took courses, you had some interaction with them, and you gave them some interesting results, so they can write good words about you. These recommendations are very important, because the person from the other side have no idea who you are. They try to understand, they try to build a model looking at your SOP, looking at your class rank and GPA, CV, and recommendation letter, whether this guy or girl is going to be asset or not, whether this person will be able to deal with the student undergraduate, potentially that you will be dealing with undergraduate student as a TA more often, whether you will be a pleasant character or not, whether you will be able to work in a team environment or not. Okay, whether you would like to share your things or not. So everything depends on the recommendation letters and how you write SOP, because this characterizes these two characterize basically your thing. But then the question comes, okay, you can use chat GP to write. Well, that's another story. Okay, that's another story. But try to be humble and write something that, which is tangible, because people can understand that, this is impossible coming for undergraduate student otherwise. And sometimes the standard test scores are important. GRE, more often GRE waivers are given now in the United States, but TOEFL is very important, because TOEFL is uh, you want to show that you are capable of handling English language, because method of language of instruction is more often 99%, 99 times is going to be English. Because of that, you want to show that you are competent in English, like reading, writing, comprehension, listening, and so on and so forth. So you are supposed to do these exams. There are no choice about that. GRE, probably you can get waivers, in the sense that some universities publicly announced that they are no longer considering GRE score. Everything depends on the graduate school. So you want to go to you want to go to their website and check carefully. Okay, standard test scores are important more often. And of course, good or bad, you have to pay some fee. Now, because it's a discourage some applicants, actually, because if you, unless, that's what I said in the morning, in the beginning, unless you really want, don't apply, because it costs you money, probably $100 per application, roughly speaking. So if you lodge 10 applicants, so you are going to spend $1,000, a lot of money, I understand, but it's a huge investment in terms of your future life, because this is about your future life. This is not about anyone else. This is about you, because you are going to get degree, not anyone else. You are going to get degree. Dwelling on that degree, you are going to get job one day. Dwelling on that job, you are going to spend your lifetime. So this is like a 4 to 5 year investment. But rest of your life, say you are going to graduate school 23 to 25, then 5 or 30, or 30 to say your lifespan is like 80 years. So 50 years old, you are going to reap benefit of this 4 or 5 years old investment. So think carefully, choose wisely. Sometimes interviews are there with advice, potential advisors or panels as application material. They require interviews, actually. I mean, it's not an again exhaustive list, but a few important salient factors that I have chosen as per my experience with this one. So now first, you had decided really you want to do high studies, and then you choose where to go. Your selection is depending on so many factors that I have mentioned, and then you want to go for you want to lodge an application, you want to see application, what's the season, what you should do, and then application material, because these are methodical. Then application material consists of SOP or motivation letter, and then academic CV, transcript, recommendation letters. You are not going to submit the system. You can propose recommenders, and the system automatically electronically solicit um, uh, recommendation letters from respective advisors. And then from your side, again, you want to submit test scores. And the last one is not very, it's not frequent, but sometimes it can happen. You are supposed to test scores. So you want to make sure that you have ready all these things by their deadlines, because otherwise you can't you can't complain. You have nothing to do, because they have hard and fast deadlines. So you want to you want to meet these deadlines. So you make sure you understand you choose your recommenders, and well in advance let them know the set of universities that you are going to apply, potential deadlines, and send them reminders. Don't bug them, but send them reminders. Could you please kindly do it, blah blah blah. Remember one thing, the deadline that you see on your logging, and the deadline the advisors see, the potential recommenders see in their on their portal or whatever, may be different. No, not the same. Okay, not the same. They are given like deadline saying that within this time period, please submit. And then if the recommenders require some sort of your career or some stuff that you did, then what you want them to write. Sometimes people ask, okay, tell me your achievement, stuff like that. Please ready to prepare a small document, probably your SOP, very briefly say that, okay, these are my achievements, these are my goals, blah, blah, so that it will certainly help them write a recommendation letter, because you don't need just a letter. You want a positive letter, a letter which has a great impact on your future career. Okay, so you make sure that you have already chosen potential recommenders. Okay, so then you have application material ready. Then you lodge application, and then what you can do is you can wait for outcome. Now, if it is already agreed upon case, it's certain that the professor is going to take you, then your answer is zero. Or sometimes you're going to get accept or reject decision in black and white. They say, we have this amount of applicants, so we are blah blah, and then you have not been selected, blah blah blah. Sometimes you get um, the most delightful decision saying that, okay, you are chosen. That's right. Sometimes you will be kept in wait list. Fate depends on other candidates' choice. And the best thing, or sometimes a nightmare, is having multiple acceptances. Now, when you have choices, sometimes it's very hard to make one actually, because you have multiple of choice. But when you have one, actually you have no choice, then you accept that. But when you have multiple choices, good and bad at the same time. Good is because you have so many. Bad is like you are struggling to make a decision actually. Don't worry, you are given a grace period, kind of like a time frame. And then when you want to choose, you choose like alma mater matters matters a lot, in the sense that your PhD school, graduate school is gonna matter a lot. At the same time, supervisor has also a huge impact in your life. So now you want to choose between like a university name and advisor's name, because advisor's name has huge impact on your future career as well. At the same time, university is more powerful than individual advisors. Remember that. University name is more powerful than, because people stay there, people will move out of that university. But university as an entity survives. Probably Western universities or this university is probably 100, 150, 200 years old. That means they have a legacy. So they have a legacy, and you are going to be part of that legacy somehow or the other. But supervisors come and go. Basically, it's just they are doing job. They stay in this university. Probably, if they get a good package from another university, they will move to that university. But you have to think carefully when you make a decision. At the same time, though, you have to be very professional. Imagine that you already accepted one place, and then you get a better place, and you want to kindly, you wanna kindly change your mind and let them know and accept this one. I mean, certainly they understand your choice, because everybody in this world go for best choice person before them. Okay, this is an optimization process. You have certain amount of constraints, and you have your objective function, and you want to find an optimal solution mathematical way. So this optimal solution is highly personal, and sometimes you go for suboptimal solution because you haven't had optimal so-called at that particular point. But then you may see optimal solution, and then you want to go for the next optimal solution. And then when you go for suboptimal to optimal solution, probably you want to say, sorry, I don't like blah, blah. And then there's a way to do it, because some colleges have mutual agreement. So you want to make sure that you don't violate these things. You are professional at the same time, you go for your goal. So choose wisely, I would say, because you don't want to offend anyone, because one day when you submit a paper, probably that guy will be reviewing your paper, or probably is some sort of a chair who decide on your funding or things like that. So you want to be careful. Okay, you want to be careful, but handle everything professionally. It's a part of your career as an engineer one day. This is very important. Be professional. Whenever you do something, be professional. Not per se how other people do it, but be professional and do the correct thing. And always people admire correct thing over common practice. Common practice may be dirty, may be toxic, but you don't have to follow the correct common practice. You can follow the correct one, or professional practice. Always people will admire professional practices. You believe me or not, that's how people are. Even you go to a place, and if you are professionally treated, you will admire than a conventional practice. Conventional practice may be derogatory, probably like they favor some other people over some other class. But if they professionally behave, though, they'll change your attitude towards thing. And this is the same way about research as well. Be professional, be wise always, right? And last but not least, I have listed a few helpful resources actually. They are findphd.com. You can see so many opportunities, jobs.ac.uk. They also publish PhD opportunities, and then place like ResearchGate. These are social media actually. People share stuff and things like that about their research, particularly geared for research studies. They sometimes say, I'm searching for couple of PhD students on this project like that. And these are a few helpful resources. And through your colleagues outside of friends outside who are right now doing research, you can get a wealth of materials. So this is the end of my talk, and thank you very much for listening to me, and thanks very much to you, and thanks for the Rotary Club as well, I think. Thank you. If you have questions, I think we have time. I don't know whether I took more time than intended, but I don't think I took more time than intended. Please, uh, over to you. I'm sorry, I cannot remember your name. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Okay, I'm answering
For
it.
the organizing committee. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, sir, for guiding us and providing valuable insights into the pathways available for international education. Your guidance is truly appreciated, and we are grateful for your support in helping undergraduates explore these opportunities. So, we will now open the floor for a Q&A session. If you have any questions for Dr. Prathapasinghe, please feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Or otherwise, you can drop me an email, because my email address you can find from my website. Everything is public. So if you don't want to ask now, you can later on send me email. If you don't like to identify yourself, it's okay to send anonymous email. I'm okay. I will answer. As long as it related to this one, I will answer. Don't worry about that. Okay. If you want to send later on, just feel free to send anonymously. Yeah, I even don't mind. I don't mind actually. It doesn't really matter. What matters is like you you educate yourself, or you get some information and you make sure that your career is better than right now you have. That's our goal, I think. Entire this career guidance and everything, the goal is like make sure that we build the capacity that you are happy, we are happy as teachers one day. So it's fine. If you have now, please don't hesitate to ask. Say that how how do you see the role of international education in shaping the careers of today's student? Actually, um, this question is very hard for me to give correct answer. I cannot say I'm correct, but I'll try to tell you. This is a very important question, actually. What matters ultimately, as I said earlier, like what you're going to do after this one. So international education is very important, but what matters is where you go. So it's again that's what I told you already. Like it is particularly, it depends on where you go actually. So the career wise, if you want to get a career boost, you want to find an area right now which is hot, because then very easy to find jobs. Say for instance, North America. Now, if you are a data scientist, though, you can find a plethora of job. But if you are in a conventional science, probably it's very hard because people are not being recruited for this there. So I have seen personally some people doing music, or some people did philosophy or something. They do some data science masters, and they're gonna get hired by some top big high tech companies in the Silicon Valley actually. So sometimes if you are interested in a career after your postgraduate, so you want to see that what's the career right now, what are the hot areas, and probably you want to change yourself. You have to rebrand yourself as a person in that area actually. So to this end, education is important, international education, because international education give you a certificate that you are capable of handling this thing. But it depends on if you have certificate from trustworthy person. That means a very good university with good brand name is going to improve your career as well. It's going to improve your potential actually, and then people see your ability through the lens of that university. So the international education is very important to achieve that goal. This is pretty much what I can tell. I was so glad to see you. I just know you are attending. Can I have your WhatsApp number? Somebody, oh, I see, Sandushan. Yeah. I'll send you Sandushan. Sandushan is, okay, we work with Sandushan actually. We publish a Q1 high top quality paper with Sandushan actually. I and myself and Dr. Chaturango as advisor, isn't it? Yeah. I will send you.
Good,
You're
thanks.
in Australia somewhere, I believe, right?
I'm in Sydney, sir, right now.
Okay, so he's one of my former students. He's going to talk about many things that I'm old man. he should know state of the art what's happening in Australia. Although I've been to Melbourne last year, was spending 1 year there, he knows better than me actually their environment. Yeah.
Thanks.
Mm. Any more questions?
Seems like there are no any other questions. So thank you so much again, sir, for your valuable insights and for everything you have done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much and wish you all good luck. Thank you.